It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning and welcome to the Travel and Cruise Industry News podcast on the 31st day of August 2022. Our lead story this morning is Royal Caribbean to use SpaceX Starlink Fleetwide. Also this morning we got Mariner of the Seas changing itinerary due to a medical emergency. Carnival got a big award over the weekend. And I'm going to be chatting with our buddy Bubba Shumard, who's been on this channel several times before. He's got a bunch of stuff working. That and lots more here at 11 o'clock. Today, folks, is National Trail Mix Day. So if you're sitting around doing nothing, just have a little trail mix. That's a lot healthier than sitting around eating potato chips or cookies or any of those things. And you might end up getting fat like the old fat travel guy here. If you're listening via the podcast, welcome aboard. You can always access my podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcasts from, like TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, Pandora, Stitcher, all the big guys, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and up pops the fat travel guy. There's been 4 or 5 people associated with the cruise industry and cruising that have been in the New York Times this year. One obviously is me. You guys all know that I have been lucky enough to grace the New York Times 3 times this year. Another one is Frank Bubba Shumard. He is from Shell Knob, Missouri, spends a lot of time when he's out not cruising on Table Rock Lake. He's maybe Holland America's most loyal guest. During the pandemic, Bubba started the drink of the day with ingredients that he posts every day on the Holland American fan page. I understand now he's up to almost 900 drinks. He's got a lot of stuff getting ready to happen. So with no further ado, let me bring in my pal, Bubba Shumard. Bubba, welcome back to the Travel and Cruise Industry News podcast.
Thanks, Chillie. We're glad to be here this morning.
Okay. First, I got to ask you a question.
Go for it.
Things have changed since I last talked to you in the cruise industry with the vaccination changes. I mean, not to everybody, but it's starting changing vaccination status, changing pre-cruise testing status. What do you think about the changes?
I'm happy. If you want to look at my right arm, I'm beginning to look like I've got tracks like a heroin addict. I get the shot every time I can. I'm really glad. Everybody was saying this is the new normal when we were wearing masks and everything. It was not normal. It was no fun. I mean, walking around with my glasses fogged over the whole time was bloody awful, but it was necessary. The shots are necessary. And I have people want to argue with me all the time about the shots. I'm getting the shot.
Yeah.
Chillie, I go in the hospital tomorrow for a heart catheter and another stent, and I am at risk being diabetic and having the heart issues. I can't afford to get COVID. I've lost too many friends from it in the last 2 years. So yes, I'm very happy. As a matter of fact, maybe you can tell me something. Okay. Do we have to have a test for an international flight?
Going to Europe, I'm not sure.
Well, I hope American Airlines can tell me later today.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay.
All right, you're getting ready to go on an international flight.
We are.
By the way, I agree with you on all those things. I have gotten and I'm like you, I'm at risk with the whole business with cancer twice, beat it back twice, but still, I can't afford to get it. So, like you got another shot. Here's my arm. I'm ready. This will be the first cruise, the one I'm going on next week that I will not have to be pre-cruise tested. So that'll be a different experience. But I'm very comfortable on cruise ships. I'm not so comfortable other places, but on cruise ships, I'm very comfortable.
Well, we're going to have to test leaving Holland,
Yeah,
or the Netherlands, excuse me, on Holland America, which is fine with me. I've got the portable tests, and we'll make the call from Europe and all that happy stuff, and we're okay with it. I'm glad to do it.
yeah. All right. So a couple of times we've kind of hinted there that you're heading to Europe. Tell us about the next adventure for Bubba.
Well, Lynn and I have never done a river cruise, and we are very, very much looking forward to it. Lynn found one that she liked. She wants to see castles, and so do I. Excuse me. And we're going to be going into Basel, Switzerland. Going to spend 3 days in Basel, roaming around, looking like American tourists, I'm sure. As a matter of fact, I did a few YouTube searches on how not to look like an American tourist, and I'm fairly certain I'm going to look classic. So we're doing that. We're going to go up the Rhine all the way to Amsterdam. I understand there's some problems with the Rhine on river level right now. We may have to change ships. Big deal. We'll do it. We want to see the world. So we're going to do that. We get into Amsterdam, and again, due to water issues, the new Rotterdam, Holland America's Rotterdam, will not be able to sail from Amsterdam. So we're going to be going down to from Amsterdam after 3 days to Rotterdam and catch the ship. And it's a dream cruise for the 150th anniversary of Holland America. They're going as far north as Oslo, Norway, and Stockholm, Sweden, Copenhagen, France, Germany. It's a beautiful cruise that Lynn's lined up for us, and truthfully, I can't wait. We were going to St. Petersburg, Russia, but somebody screwed with that one. I think Putin, somebody.
Yeah. Those pesky Russians.
So yeah, the pesky Russian. I like that. But we're going to do that. And then the fun starts. We'll go over to Plymouth, England, and we'll transition from Plymouth to New York City. I think it's 5 days across the Atlantic. I had a lot of people asking me about about crossing the Atlantic, and what are you going to do during that time? Trust me, we'll not be bored.
Yeah, no.
We'll stop in New York City. Lynn lined up tickets for us to the Broadway production of Wicked, which we have seen the off-Broadway version and loved it. Yeah. And really looking forward to that. While in New York City, I'll be meeting Dale DeGraff, Holland America's head, what do you call it, mixologist.
Yeah.
And the hard part for me is going to be telling this guy that although I've got all these drink recipes, I'm not a mixologist. If he tells me, hey, mix me up a drink, I hope he enjoys a rum and Coke. At home, Lynn is the bartender. We're pretty there. But then we go down from New York City, we go down to Fort Lauderdale and fly back to Springfield, Missouri to come home. And we are really looking forward to this cruise.
Awesome. All right. Your drink of the day, you started during the pandemic.
March 15th.
Yeah. You're up to almost 900 drinks.
We are 8 days away from 900.
How the hell do you come up with 900 different drinks? Have you duplicated any?
Not yet.
Amazing.
We've got a couple of thousand. And Chillie, the thing was, you and I were talking before we came on the air about cruises. We were packed and ready to go on a Tahitian cruise, 35 days to Tahiti. Yeah. And Chillie, I got to tell you, when they canceled that bad boy, Lynn said, we're going. Don't care about the disease. We've got our vaccinations. We're going. Or we didn't have them at the time. And I was crushed. And I sat down here on a Sunday morning having my morning coffee. And I thought, well, when you go aboard a ship, and in those days they did it, you had a drink of the day. So I looked up a recipe and found what I wanted to post, and posted the picture of the carpets, and got a huge response. I mean, I spent the entire day. If you send me a thank you or anything else, I respond. I think it's rude not to. Excuse me. So I responded. We were at around 700 when we did the Hawaiian cruise last year, and we had a cocktail party aboard, and we're going to have a cocktail party on the Rotterdam coming transatlantic. And I'm really looking forward to the transition on the transatlantic. I've read stories about how the North Atlantic can act, and in October it might be real interesting. But
yeah,
we're going to go.
Well, I think you're like I am. If it does get interesting, it gets a little rough out there. So be it. I mean, that's part of cruising, and I kind of get fascinated when it gets that way.
We had 20-foot seas coming out of Fort Lauderdale once, with a cabin on the fantail. Ooh. Right on the, and I got to tell you, that bad boy was rocking and rolling, and I was rocking and rolling with it. I love it. Do I want to get into 40 and 50-foot seas? Absolutely not. Yeah, that's when things quit being fun. And I love the drunk stagger going down the hall that you see people doing. Sober as a judge, but bouncing off the walls. It's always fun. Excuse me, Chillie.
And I'm just looking for the day that I have another scooter wreck on board the ship in one of these.
Well, on Holland, I think they're on the new ship. I think they've installed traffic lights for the.
That's very good. I need that.
We had one gentleman that was in a suite next to us last year, and I don't know if he was under the influence or not, but he went to make his turn into his room, and he rammed the door, and then he rammed the door again, and then finally he backed up and really just nailed it. He finally made it through, but it was hilarious to watch. And of course, I don't mean to pick on people that have to ride them. I'm going to have to do it someday, I'm sure. I hope. I want to be here long enough to.
All right. You sail on other cruise lines besides Holland America on occasions.
On occasion. And the reason we do, and I'm not real wild about it because Holland is my favorite. The demographic for Holland is my favorite. Don't want to sound like the grumpy old man who's screaming, "Get off my lawn!" But I'm not a real fan of being around number one, drunks, and number two, a bunch of wild Indian kids. Yeah. I guess the sedate life is for me now. But we do sail on Royal Caribbean. We are Diamond Plus on Royal, and they've got some pretty nice perks for their for the Diamond Plus, the Diamond Lounge, and 5 drinks a day.
Yep.
So I don't have to buy the drink package. I probably would be better off if we didn't buy the drink package, because I feel like I'm getting cheated. When we buy it, I'm never going to hit that.
Yeah, no, I can't either.
That would be a case of broken hearts and wounded livers, and it's a country song.
I'll be Diamond my next cruise on Royal Caribbean, finally, which will give me the 5 drinks per day. That's all I need, Bubba. I can't do any more than that. And I might have a Bloody Mary in the morning. I may have a cocktail in the afternoon out by the pool, and one at dinner, and maybe one if I'm out and about at night. And that's a lot for me anymore.
Well, Chillie, I get it. And in my younger days, I might have tried to push the limit, but waking up feeling bad is not for me.
No.
So we I've just been motioned by Lynn that I say too much, and trying to break that habit. We'll be doing some broadcasts on the here we go again on the Rotterdam live, so that's going to be some fun.
Great. Well, I'll definitely be tuning in on that. And of course, anything you post in the way of pictures, I'll be stealing them and showing them on my show.
Please do.
All right. After the Rotterdam experience, then tell us about my bucket list cruise that you're going to do.
In February, it's 35 days to Polynesia, which is the cruise that we were leaving on that got canceled. So we're going to finally get to do the Tahitian cruise, go to Hawaii for a day, and then down to Christmas Island, and then cross the equator, which will be a first for me aboard ship. So I won't be a shellback anymore, and then we'll go farther on down to French Polynesia, and then back across the Pacific to the San Diego port, which is good. This is going to be a great cruise.
I would so love to be on that. Wow, I really would.
We tried, last year we did cruise after cruise after cruise, and I never thought I'd say it, but I got tired.
Yeah.
And we're going to we're backing off with how many we're doing. I know we'll be going down to Galveston for once or twice probably to go out on Royal, but I'm not in any rush to do anything else but the two big ones this year and the river cruise. We do have a Christmas time river cruise scheduled for 2023, which ought to be really interesting, going through the Rhineland area. They decorate great for Christmas. And a lot of stuff, Chillie, I'll tell you, we do a lot of prep work with YouTube. And I know you have a show on YouTube. We do a lot of prep work, where to go, what to see. You can go on the excursions, but kind of like guiding myself and getting out there amongst the people instead of following somebody with a lollipop around.
Right. Well, one of the things that I find, they just don't have excursions that are accessible in a lot of places. So when I get off the ship on my scooter, 9 times out of 10, I'm on my own.
You got it.
I'll go find a local bar, restaurant. I'll have maybe a cocktail and a little lunch and meet some local folks and sit there and BS for the afternoon or something, because the excursions, they don't have any way of taking the scooter. So
let me ask you something, Chillie. Where are you going on your next cruise?
Eastern Caribbean.
Eastern Caribbean.
Out of Miami.
Right.
Symphony of the Seas.
In Cozumel, there's what is the name of the place? Parrot.
Margaritaville.
Margaritaville. We have made really good friends with the manager down at Margaritaville. Mm-hmm. We're friends on Facebook now, and he communicates back and forth about what his sons are doing and everything. So if you get a chance, I'll get you his name. You go in there and tell him hello for me when you do Western Caribbean.
Okay. I'm sure this later in the fall, I've got a couple of trips back to Cozumel.
Yeah. There you go.
Also, when I'm in Cozumel, I'll go to the No Name Bar, which is a crew bar, which is always fun. And
where is that?
That's from where Margaritaville is. It's down toward town. But I can get on an accessible cab to get there.
Yeah.
So I go down and I visit with them sometimes, but I've been to Margaritaville several times as well. So I will do that in my next trip into Cozumel and tell them Bubba sent me. So,
Senor Frank.
Yes. All right, Bubba, I need to get on with my news for the day. As always, I so appreciate your time, and I'm so looking forward to these next couple adventures. So you just keep posting, and I'll keep stealing stuff from you.
Gotta plug it. It's the Holland America fan group on Facebook. We're going to be hitting. I think within a week we're going to hit 30,000 members on it. Join us. Have some fun.
I am absolutely one of the 30,000. and I follow you all the time. So
Thank you, Chillie. Have a great day.
all right, Bubba. We'll talk to you next time.
All right.
All right. That's my pal, Bubba Shumard. It's always so much fun to catch up with him. He and Lynn they're just great folks and great cruisers. So one other thing before I hop over to the news, our buddy Rochelle, she was all over Europe forever. She's now back on Independence of the Seas this week, and she sent a lovely sunrise this morning from Independence of the Seas. So I'm sure we'll be getting some more information from her real soon. All right, I'll be back with today's news after a word from one of our network sponsors. All right, today's top story has to deal with something that I am a little familiar with, actually, and that is the SpaceX Starlink high-speed internet, which Royal Caribbean now plans to implement on all of the ships in the fleet, which will much improve connecting guests at sea, enabling everything from streaming movies to moving cloud-based applications. All ships sailing for the Royal Caribbean Group will have Starlink satellite receivers installed, including Royal Caribbean International, Celebrity, and Silver Seas. The implementation follows extensive testing that's been done on the Freedom of the Seas for the past couple months, including 2 cruises I was on starting in the end of June, and it does work wonderfully. Royal Caribbean is the first cruise company worldwide to fully implement the SpaceX Starlink Maritime high-speed internet terminals on board cruise ships. The technology is light years ahead of where the current technological systems are, with speeds for the SpaceX system far exceeding current standards. Celebrity Cruises has already provided an update on when it plans to implement the new system on its ships. Celebrity newest ship, Celebrity Beyond with Captain Kate, will receive the new system on September 5th, among one of the first ships to be turned over this holiday weekend. All of the Celebrity Edge series will have been updated by the end of the year. The installation will then continue into 2023 and be complete by May. There is no schedule yet on Royal Caribbean International ships or Silver Sea. Guests aboard Royal Caribbean ships will be seeing a huge improvement in internet connectivity. Not only does the speed far exceed the current norm, SpaceX reports speeds of up to 350 Mbps. The low orbit satellite connection also means extremely low latency, which in effect means the faster connections actually work as they would at home. I don't really know what any of that means, except it's a better signal. Although the system does not yet work worldwide and in all sailing areas, eventually this will be the case, with a near worldwide coverage expected by the end of 2023 or into 2024. Eventually, guests could possibly expect costs for internet packages to go down significantly. What? Cruise ships never make something cheaper, do they? While cruise ships will need several terminals to service all onboard systems, all guests and crew, the cost is still significantly less than the high orbit satellite connections that are the norm. So it's possible in time we could actually see a reduction in costs. That would be a blessing. All right. Second story this morning is, speaking of Royal Caribbean, guests on board Mariner of the Seas will not be visiting the cruise line's private resort destination of Labadee, Haiti, as was originally scheduled. due to an onboard a medical emergency that required the ship to make a significant route diversion. Instead, the ship will enjoy 2 days at the private island Perfect Day at Coco Cay. Mariner sailed on Monday. A medical emergency occurred Monday night, requiring deviating from the course to sail closer to Port Everglades in order to rendezvous with Coast Guard and transfer the affected individual off the cruise ship. To safeguard the person's privacy, neither the nature of the emergency nor whether the person is a passenger or crew member has been released. After the diversion, Mariner of the Sea turned back toward its original route, but the diversion was too lengthy to guarantee a suitable arrival at Labadee today as planned. Instead, the ship slowed and held off dramatic changes until new itinerary was discussed and decided. By 9:30 yesterday morning, the itinerary shift was confirmed, and the ship's captain announced that Mariner of the Sea will no longer be calling on Labadee. Instead, the vessel will visit Perfect Day at Coco Cay twice, once today and again on Friday. They were supposed to be in there on Thursday. Instead, they're going to be there today and Friday. Basically, for today, that put 2 ships in Coco Cay, Mariner and Oasis of the Seas. That's something they don't like to do. It's normally just one ship. As of early this morning, there was still the possibility of them changing Oasis itinerary to avoid 2 ships at Coco Cay at the same time. Oasis is in the middle of a 7-night cruise from Bayonne, was not scheduled to arrive until 9 o'clock this morning. As of 6:30, no decision had been made. Just before I came on the air, I checked on it, and the decision was made, and both ships are at Coco Cay today. So it might be a little crowded on Coco Cay. Just saying, might be. I don't know what the counts are on either ship. I have not heard that. I know on the Norwegian Sky last week that I was on, we sailed at like 1,400, so we were way down from capacity. I'm assuming that Royal Caribbean ships are down as well this time of year, but you never know. So, all right, the third story this morning has to do with Carnival. In Birmingham, Alabama, over the weekend, Carnival Cruise Line received Culture City's Human Highlight Award at the organization's annual gala, Culture Ball. As the first cruise line to be certified sensory inclusive by Culture City in 2019, Carnival developed a close relationship and partnership with nonprofit Culture City and assisted a family in need who was unable to fly back to their home in New Jersey after a trip to Aruba. You might recall about that story here on Chillie's Cruises, Travel and Cruise Industry News, several months ago. I had the story about Jamie and her son Elijah, an autistic young man who freaked out when the family tried to get on an airplane to fly home. As a result, the family had to stay in Aruba. After a number of days there, the father and one sibling flew back to New Jersey, and Jamie and Elijah stayed in Aruba trying to find some way to get this young man back home. Finally, these folks contacted Carnival, and they assisted in the whole process. The award was received by the line at Culture Ball, the organization's annual national gala. During the ceremony, Culture City surprised Carnival Cruise Line by inviting the mother, Jamie Green, to personally administer the award. The nonprofit Culture City proudly partners with the cruise line and contacted Carnival aboard Jamie and Elijah's situation. Once the line realized it could bring them back to the U.S. on one of its ships, the line opened up the Carnival Horizon for the family to board on May the 31st in Aruba. After arriving in Miami, the featured family was driven back to their home in New Jersey by Culture City volunteers. Now, there's a whole lot more to this story, folks. A lot more details, a lot more interesting information on Carnival and how they handle certain types of individuals on their ships. It's a pretty interesting read. I posted it on my blog this morning. So if those of you are interested in autism, autistic children or adults, and the possibility of cruising, it's a good read. So, all right, that's going to wrap up for the news today. Let's jump over and see if anybody is fussing at me. Whoops, I didn't mean to put that back on. Is fussing at me for anything. They could. By the way, Hot Air Tom is back in Richmond. I wonder if they allowed him back in the city. I don't know. Hot Air Tom's with us. Hello, everyone. Mike's here. Hi, Mike. Carol's with us. Hot Air Tom says it's Chillie Key Day. I have pre-tested appointment for my stone blast procedure next week. We'll be visiting the post office after appointment to mail those adventurous keys back. And because folks, Hot Air Tom is stroking me over leaving my keys in a groggy state in my safe in the room. And he rescued them for me after I was in the cab on the way back to my car. Thankfully, I did have another set of keys. But Hot Air Tom rescued my keys. Gretchen's with us. Amy's with us. Cindy's here. Hi, Cindy. Amy said people should take care of their own health and allow you to take care of yours the way you see fit. Oh, I totally agree. You know, it's hard to balance, especially when you're in a situation like mine. I mean, I don't want to preach anything, but still, I have to tell people what I believe and what I think, and so. But sometimes it's a balancing act. It really is. Gretchen says 4 trips to Florida during COVID, 1 cruise in the Caribbean, no COVID, international trip, Barcelona to Rome, and the BA5 got us. Yeah. And, could get me this cruise. We just don't know anymore. I mean, I've done everything I can do so that if I do get it, it's going to be mild. Hopefully, when that day comes, if it ever comes. And I will continue to do that. If they come up with, a 3rd vaccination or a 3rd booster or a new shot with the new variants included, whatever it is, as soon as it's available, here's my arm. Stick me. Yeah, that's just the way I'm going to roll. So it served me well so far on 12 cruises this year, 13 cruises, 12. I never can remember the number. 12, I think. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 previous cruises this year. So I'll continue doing what's been working for me. By the way, folks, since, I also have to look out after, protect my sister and brother-in-law and my niece. Before I got home, I tested myself. And I will test myself. It'll be on the 5th day of getting off the ship. I will test again just to make sure, because I certainly don't want to bring them anything either. Nikki's here. Hi, Nikki. Carol says, I have no test for my 26-day cruise in November, and I'm fine with that. Sonny says here, hello, everyone. Keys adventure is funny. Yeah, I think so too. Even if it's making fun of me. Joanne says, Diamond gets you 4 drinks a day. That's correct. Diamond Plus gets you 5. You're correct on that one. But still, 4 drinks a day. I mean, that keeps, so even if I have a really heavy day and I end up buying 1 or 2, so be it. Norwegian, because I knew that I would get the money back on that expense, I just paid for every drink. And my bill wasn't that bad at the end of the cruise. Matter of fact, I was surprised how little I drank on this cruise, quite frankly. Hot Air says the background, bump was me sending Chillie a picture. His keys are watching Bubba on the big TV. Oh, that's even funnier. Let me see if I can grab that real quick, Hot Air. Oh, yes. Oh, that is good. I will take a second to get this one loaded, folks, since we're laughing about it to start with. Well done, Hot Air. I got to tell you, that is very well done. So let me see if I can load that up real quick and show you. And it's spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. Give that computer a drink. There we go. There you go. There's my keys watching me and Bubba. And that's cool. Well done, Hot Air. Well done. I don't want that. I want this. American Airlines had a plane emergency land in Bermuda, and passengers were not permitted to leave the airport. You know, I looked at that, and there was some factual discrepancies in that article. That's why I didn't use it. But the story, the basis of the story was true. There was about 300 people on the plane. It developed some mechanical difficulties, and it went back to Bermuda. And by the time that the ground crew had determined that it was flight worthy, the crew on board had timed out, and they have so many hours, and then they have to go sleep or whatever. So the crew was sent to the motel or hotel or whatever it was, and the passengers couldn't deplane because of Bermuda's regulations. So it was just a big mess until it finally got straightened out. And eventually a second plane was dispatched. They got the passengers on, but there was a lot of time without food and drink, and a lot of people were complaining. They were totally complaining about the airline, and I'm not sure it was entirely the airline's fault. But anyway, it got resolved. But anyway, there were some factual discrepancies in that article, so I couldn't use the entirety of the article. Hot Air, I do appreciate you sending me that. So Gretchen said it's really a relief to get the darn thing, being that we were fine. Yeah, I understand. Do you live with your sister and niece? Yes, my sister, my brother-in-law, and my niece. My sister and I inherited the family farm, Joanne. And I came back to take care of my mother when she was still alive. She started in on all the signs of dementia. And because I had to work to live as well as take care of my mother, my sister moved back here as well. Then later, her daughter moved here and went back to school after 19 years as a zookeeper. And then my sister's current better half, Jean. There's Jean and Jean. Jean with a J, Jean with a G. He moved in. So we all live here on the family farm, right outside of Lynchburg, Virginia. Joanne says, we get 5 drinks a day. I get Pellegrino water, and Mom gets a Coke. We are cheap dates. Well, that's wonderful. I like cheap dates. So anyway, I look forward to it. That will be a really good perk for me, and one of the reasons that I will probably book another Royal Caribbean cruise sooner rather than later, because of the situation with Symphony. I'm not sure if I will get awarded 7 points or 14 points as a solo traveler. I'm thinking on this one, the way the whole thing came down with it being a loyalty cruise, that I probably don't get the double points, but I'm pretty sure I get the single points. So my next booking will be Diamond. So anyway, that's it. All right, that's going to wrap me up for today. As always, I will be back tomorrow, same time, same channel, with travel and cruise industry news. Once again, if you're new to this channel, always appreciate the thumbs up. If you have not subscribed, please consider to do so. It doesn't cost anything, helps me out tremendously. Hit the bell notification to be notified when I go live or when a new video is up, which is happening a lot now as I'm trying to get caught up on all the stuff I'm behind from the Norwegian Sky before I head out again to get on Symphony of the Seas. So that's going to wrap me up for today. Again, my thanks to my friend Frank Bubba Shumard out there in Missouri as he gets ready to go on a river cruise and then a transatlantic on the Rotterdam and then to Tahiti. Wow, that's so cool. I'll see everybody tomorrow. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising, and hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. This is the old fat travel guy. Later, y'all.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry, so if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.